This is Kanangahape Road, central Auckland. Most people call it K Road. It's dirty, it's seedy, it's subversive. It's also edgy, diverse and colourful. My name is Six. For many years, K Road was my home. I was homeless. Now I edit the K Road Chronicle, a newspaper that gives K Road street people their own voice. This is Tahuia. It's early morning and she's heading to work at Merge, a cafe on K Road. But this is no ordinary cafe.
It's actually changed me a heck of a lot. Because I suffer with depression, it's actually brought me out of my shell. Because I used to be a person who would never speak to no one.
Merge is run for the homeless, with help from people who used to be homeless. Tahuia is one of them. Now, a few days a week, she helps the chef make affordable meals for the community.
Are we going to put some sort of garnish on lamb stew?
And put some parsley in it?
We have good meals, we have good food for a good cause.
And this is Manu, the cafe manager.
Focusing primarily on the people who are marginalised and isolated, get them back on their feet, get their mana back. At the end of the day, when you finish your job and go home, there's a sense of achievement, rather than just sitting in front of a computer, which I used to do, and make rich people richer rather than helping the people who actually need help.
What made me change is when I ended up on the street myself. Before I hit rock bottom, I used to be quite stuck up. I judged people. I always used to be a judgmental person. I viewed homeless people as they were lazy, they were no good, they didn't, amount to anything. But when I went through it myself, it was a different kettle of fish. Because really, a streety person is just like an everyday person. Only one thing is that they live on the street.
Back when I lived on the street, I used to sleep in the doorway of Merge Cafe. That got me into serious trouble. Yeah, well, I was a bit naughty. I got banned from Merge. They said, oh, Six, you're banned, you're trespassed, you can't sleep out the front anymore. And I got so angry. So I put super glue in their locks. I was going, they're going to lock me out. I'll lock you out. And I wrote some derogatory things about some of the management and lipstick on the windows. Anyway, I didn't think they'd take it that seriously and I got arrested. But it was serious. And that bad decision could have left me with a criminal record. Lucky for me, however, things turned out differently. Well, I was really fortunate to be nominated by my lawyer to the New Beginnings, the homeless court. And that was, honestly, that was really the turning point. Today I'm visiting Judge Tony FitzGerald, who presides over the homeless court. Officially, it's known as the New Beginnings Court.
Good morning, Six.
Hey, Judge.
Nice to see you again.
Great to see you. Man, things have changed since I saw you last. Have a seat.
And that must be about 2 years ago, isn't it?
2 years this month, I think, if I'm correct. And last time we met, he was hearing my case. This time I'm writing about him and the work of the court.
Turi turi mō tōna honore te kai whakawai te koa. Silence all staff was on judge.
We always begin our court with our karakia in te reo Māori. Whakataka hau ki te tōna.
Those people who qualify for the New Beginnings Court, the people need to be facing relatively low-level offending. Much of what brings them to court isn't really a criminal justice issue. It's so obviously connected to their unmet health and social circumstances. And so what this court does differently is recognise that. I'm encouraged to hear that you've been able to make good choices that have kept you on a good path. And I know from the report that I had from... Ordering someone who's addicted to alcohol not to do it is about as sensible as asking a blind man to see. I mean, we need to be more thoughtful and aware of what the true causes of the offending are, and when the solutions are obvious, provide them.
Mickey has struggled with substance abuse since he was a teenager. Now he's in his 60s.
What are you getting at the wholesaler?
A box of wine by the looks of it when my mate turns up. Come on, Mark, you're the one with the money. Buy a box of wine. I can only afford one box a week.
What would you drink if you could afford it? How many?
I'd drink a box a day. I'd be a permanent drunk. Man, I gave up the heroin and the home bag and the morphine. So it's not too bad going. Just drinking and smoking from now on.
Mickey was homeless for a long time, but a year ago he also went through the New Beginnings process. You were sleeping in the graveyard?
Yeah.
And the police trespassed you?
From the graveyard. And I said to them at the time, who complained? Which zombie got up and went down to the police station and laid a complaint against me? And then that's how I ended up in the Court of New Beginnings, which is the best thing that ever happened to me. The judge up there is just wonderful. Yeah, Judge FitzGerald. And when you first go in there, he goes, what do you like to be called? And I go, well, everyone calls me Mickey, or I said, Mickey the Rat. And he goes, I said, oh, you can just call me Mr. Mickey the Rat. I thought I'd be a bit cheeky, eh? Why not? But it was just so nice because you sat there and you just talked to this guy who wants to listen to you and knows that you're trying to help you. That's all. First time I ever had an experience the court like it, and it was so good.
One of the strengths of the court is the team, not just the judge, the policeman and the lawyer, but in the team we will have the social workers who would be working with the participants and perhaps other professionals.
Now Mickey's been housed, and thanks to New Beginnings, he gets regular visits from Ashley, his social worker.
Other than the couch and the fridge, how have things been?
When the court began 2 years ago, it tracked the progress of its first participants.
Arrest rates dropped by 66% during the 6 months participants were in the court program, and 6 months later it was still a 66% reduction in arrest rate, so a 2/3 slashing of reoffending rates. The nights in a prison bed reduced from by 78% during the time in the court program and 60% 6 months later. And what's so amazing about those figures is they were in our first year. We were just getting started then.
I don't know where I would be if I hadn't gone through the New Beginnings process. Within 2 weeks, I had my Housing New Zealand property. 3rd month, I'd done everything they asked me. Discharged without conviction. They have a genuine interest in your well-being and your welfare. But I think for me the most frustrating thing was how come it got to this point? How come it had to get to the point where I was in court before somebody was willing to help me?
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.